Keen-eared listeners may have noticed a couple of things about the Tough Cut podcast, and one of them is
Hop.
Yeah, Hop is a big one. James Marsden, big fans. Gore Verbinski, all the inside jokes of this show. But that Jake occasionally sounds a bit like he is recording with his head in a toilet.
Yeah, maybe you fucking.
Lots of reverb. Sound is just like bouncing around. What's going on there? This is episode 19, and Jake has just realized that he recorded the previous 18 episodes with his mic turned backwards. So he's been talking into it wrong for 18 episodes.
Look, to be fair, the logo's on the other side, but also with my luck, I'm still not going to sound good. So good luck for you listeners. I promise I have the sexiest voice of the podcast. You'll just never know my real voice because it's always going to be fucked.
I'm loving surfing on these crystal clear sound waves you're sending out.
Hell yeah, you picking up?
I'm vibing.
Until the Tough Cut podcast has a live show, you'll never know what Jake actually sounds like. It's literally impossible.
I really sound like this.
Audience, you don't know. I do some substantial audio editing. Jake doesn't normally sound like a Muppet. That's just my magic at its work. Another thing you might have noticed is that this episode did not release on Monday. All of our past episodes have released on Mondays, but due to some scheduling changes that we're making, from now on, episodes are going to release on Thursdays. Still be Thursday morning, so you can listen to that on your ride to work if you're not working from home. Or you can listen to it on your walk to work as you take an hour walking from your bed to your home office.
Or if you are work from home, listen to it while you're working because they can't stop you from listening to our podcast during work hours.
One of our listeners, I do know one of our listeners who listens to it during work.
Hell yeah.
So shout out to you if you're listening to this at
money
work.
From the man.
Fuck Deborah, your boss. I actually don't know if that's the boss's
paid
name.
To listen to us more than we get paid to do this show.
To be very clear, we're not going to be the one paying you to listen to us.
Cool. All right. Well, this is episode 19, part 2 of our coming of age bracket. We're the Tough Cut podcast, and I'm Matthew.
I'm your editing wizard, Alex.
And I figured out how microphones work, kinda. Jake.
So coming at you in the first half of this episode, we've got 8th Grade versus How to Train Your Dragon. And then in the second half, we've got The Way, Way Back versus Ladybird. So it should be some fun matchups.
It's going to be really good. This is part 2 of our coming of age bracket. We picked movies that are about young people figuring out how to be normal people.
Figuring out how to train their dragons. Yeah, that's what we're figuring out, you know?
Yeah. I'll wait until we get into the discussion to bring up my fun conversation I want to have. So, audience, be excited for future conversations that I'm going to bring up. They're going to be pretty fun.
And also spoilery, which I thought is what you were leading into, Alex. We're going to be spoiling these movies.
I don't have that kind of foresight.
Amazing. Well, yeah, we're going to be spoiling these movies. And also, if you haven't watched all these films, we encourage you to watch along with us. But 8th Grade does contain a scene that is very intense. It's an intense sexual situation. So keep an eye out for that. And yeah, we're going to be talking about these movies, and I'm excited to get into it. So let's get into it, guys. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Gabagee, gabagoo.
Jake, do you want to go ahead and introduce 8th Grade?
Oh, yeah. Just in time, by the time you're listening to this, for Bo Burnham's new special. Woo,
I'm so excited.
Very excited. Bo Burnham, this is his directorial debut, 8th Grade in 2018. This is about 13-year-old Kayla enduring, tidal wave of suburban adolescence as she makes her way through the last week of middle school and, the end of her fate of 8th grade year. So it's filled with angst and music and fire. That was everyone's 8th grade experience, right? I'm just making sure.
Myself and my friends did like to burn things.
Yeah, I mean, I love this movie. I got to see an early screening of it in Portland, and they give you a little hall pass with Bo Burnham's signature on it saying you can see this movie, and it's very cute. So cool. And I love it so much. It's one of my prized possessions from a theater. But what do you guys think?
I love this movie. Bo Burnham is someone that I feel is one of the biggest creative influences in my life. So to see him kind of make his directorial debut in this form, with what I felt was one of the more powerful movies that I saw that year, was really, really awesome. It is, yeah. It's a good movie. I really like it. I really enjoyed it. It was good to rewatch. Very cringy though.
It's a cringy movie.
I had never seen this movie before, and I'm glad you bring that up, Matt. This movie is so well written, so well performed. The performances in this movie are phenomenal. Bo Burnham does such a great job directing it, and I hated every single second of watching this movie. It's a great movie, but I do not like movies that make me feel uncomfortable, and I was uncomfortable the entire time.
It's doing its job.
That's not to say that I dislike the movie, because I think that is a lot of what it was trying to do. I just hated watching it.
Nice. With that, Alex, do you want to introduce How to Train Your Dragon?
Yeah, a very different coming of age movie that just feels good the whole time watching. This story follows a teenage Viking named Hiccup, who is weak and scrawny in a village of big beefy boys, and he learns that being himself is the best way to bring about change in society. And that's what this movie is about, guys.
Yeah, it sure is. I mean, I love this movie too. It's one of the best trilogies of animation. Like, I think it's a solid ass trilogy, honestly. Definitely a highlight of DreamWorks, in my opinion. Is it better than Shrek? Maybe in totality it is.
Do you think it's better than Shrek?
I think as a trilogy, yeah. Because Shrek the Third's
the Shrek 3, 4. And,
are we throwing out some fighting words about Shrek Ever After?
Yeah, we are. Unironically, please come fight me about Shrek Ever After.
Well, maybe it'll come up on the podcast one day. We're coming for you, DreamWorks.
Oh yeah, those execs, we have them in our pocket. I forgot. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I have other things to say, but I will say them. You know, I like the movie. It's a fun animated movie.
It's been a long time since I've seen this movie, and I had a lot of fun with it. I really enjoyed my rewatch. I have not seen the full trilogy. I know it's been spoken very highly of, but I just haven't ever seen the second and third movie, so I cannot weigh them as part of my decision at all.
I don't think we should.
I don't think they should weigh in. They're pretty good, but I think part of what makes them so good is the evolution of the emotional resonance in the first one.
That was a fancy ass fucking sentence. I loved every word of it.
Well,
thank you.
So I have to talk fancy because I'm about to get into my most nuanced film critique conversation that I am starting, and that is music in these movies, because I think score is very important in both of them.
Matthew whispering fuck is so good to me. Yeah.
I'm out of my depth here.
Talk about it. I'm here for it because I love the score in 8th grade. So let's talk about it.
So knowing that Bo Burnham was the director of 8th grade, I was expecting to be blown away, astounded by the music in it. And I kind of wasn't. It seemed like the music was different from other movies that I've seen. It definitely has its own score that I don't think is similar to anything else. But I don't know that I liked it. It felt like the score was doing the same kind of thing every time, where it is noticeable in those big scenes where she is mouth agape watching, what was his name? Aiden? Or, those kinds of things where it suddenly is very loud in a big moment like that. And it's kind of, I don't know. I didn't get a lot out of it.
Interesting.
So I'm interested, Jake, you said you liked it a lot. What you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, I just think the music felt, for lack of a better word, fantastical and imaginative. We were in Kayla's brain. That's what it felt like. It felt wholly original. And yeah, the parts where it breaks, where she's looking at Aiden, I thought that was so fucking funny. I think it just feels like it's her. It's this out of the wall, she feels so painfully individual, and it's kind of uncomfy, but it's fun. And I think it's a fun score that captures a lot of her character.
What I want to compare it to, though, is how I love the music in How to Train Your Dragon. I think it is one of the best scores in movies.
Who does the score? Do you remember?
John Powell was the composer.
Yes, John Powell. The theme of Burke the like theme of hiccup, like the music, you can look at how, like what scenes it's present in and how these themes represent different characters and ideals in the movie. And they're like pulling Hiccup in different directions. It's just so beautifully composed. There are specific moments where like Hiccup's music overlays above Toothless's theme, and it like blends perfectly in that scene where they're like first flying and they like fall and go crazy and are shooting through those rocks sticking up out of the ocean, and he has to like let go of his paper and just feel it by gut. That music is so powerful. It's such a beautiful moment. And I feel like the score does so much to emphasize like the emotional growth of these characters.
Yeah, honestly, fuck How to Train Your... No, I'm kidding. Yeah, no, I mean, genuinely, I think both of these are like fairly like nuanced and great. Something that I love about How to Train Your Dragon is its ending and its parallel with Toothless, and that they actually let a character throughout the trilogy is the reason why I brought it up, like remain disabled. And it wasn't like a thing that was like, oh, this is his character thing, or like, oh, they played it up as whatever. It was just, no, he's not worse off or anything. It's a part of him. And anything, if anything, it unlocked more about him. Which is really, really cool. And I really, really enjoy that in the film. Although I will say, why the fuck?
Where's this going?
Why the fuck is Jay Baruchel the voice? This scrawny Jewish man, and then other Scottish heavy accent dudes. It's so funny and jarring to me.
Well, so all of the kids had American accents, and all the adults had those Scottish accents. Actually, one of my favorite things about this movie is that David Tennant is one of the background voice actors. So you'll just hear like, I'm with you, Stoic. So fun. So good.
It's so funny that like you get that, and then you get, hi, I'm Jay Baruchel. I'm here to fucking do the dragon thing. That's my worst impression I've ever done.
I thought it was pretty good.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
I've heard worse impressions from you.
In my point of view, the Jedi are evil.
Put this down in your rear view.
Ben Affleck, is that you? Did you appear? Holy shit.
Wow, incredible.
I also love that How to Train Your Dragon does the whole like different thing that kind of like Fantastic Mr. Fox did, you know, with the whole like he's just different, and like the whole
you
like
just gestured to all of me.
Yeah. And I really like, I love that. I love that about films. And the father-son dynamic is very, very good. We have very good, interesting fathers. And I think
good interesting fathers. Yeah.
Yeah. That's actually one of the things I most wanted to talk about with these two movies, because obviously parent-child dynamics are really important in coming-of-age films. I just think that this is a really interesting comparison of two father sort of child relationships. I guess I'll open that up if you guys have specific thoughts while I try to find my notes on this.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a really good point to bring up, and I think it'll be a great discussion. I think in many ways, the dads are very opposite. Stoic wants Hiccup to change from the very beginning versus...
His name being Stoic is so fucking funny to me. It's so good. That's hilarious. It's great.
I don't know what Kayla's dad's name is. Mark. Yeah. Mark very clearly loves his daughter so much and is so proud of her and excited by who she is. Mm-hmm. And I think the movie, I will say 8th Grade does a fantastic job of always showing Kayla from the way she sees herself. Mm-hmm. Like the movie is definitely from her perspective the whole time. And so you see that he loves her, but you don't see her the way he sees her. Mm-hmm. And then it makes that moment at the end so good, so beautiful.
The fire scene is like phenomenal to me. Like the whole sharing and how to share feelings, and the father being equally scared is such a beautiful like moment. And she's like, oh, like what's in there? Oh, you know, all my hopes and dreams. And he's just like, the fuck am I supposed to do with that, Kayla? That dad is so understanding, but so out of his depth. And I think it's the same, like, you know, in How to Train Your Dragon, not necessarily like he's so understanding, but he's so set, like he's so out of his depth, and how they respond in different ways and how they do that, you know, in a way where they're genuinely believing they're trying to do their best for their kid, but they just don't know how.
Yeah, I was very much just sort of going to agree with a lot of what Jake was kind of throwing out about this idea of being out of their depth. And like then this single parent dynamic, I think, is really interesting in both films, and like how you have these single dads trying to raise kids correctly. Mm-hmm. I just think is really, really interesting and very, very cool. Jake said basically the thing I wanted to say so well. So props to him. And then the other thing,
get dunked on, motherfucker.
Thank you. The other thing I want to throw out, though, is the relationship between Kayla and Mark in 8th grade makes me so thoroughly terrified to have children, because like I think it's like such a beautiful picture of like parents genuinely have no idea what they're doing any more than like kids like know what they're doing in terms of growing up. Like, man, that's spooky.
Oh, actually, going off of that, I want to imagine we're all in 8th grade for a second.
Please no.
What would your guys' dragons be, and what would their powers be, and what would their names be, and what color would they be if you guys had a dragon?
Chartreuse is the color for sure. God, I gotta think of fucking dragon.
Will you
types.
describe chartreuse? Because I always get chartreuse confused. Chartreuse is like
it's puke green.
It's okay.
Like it's technically a wine, so it's like a wine green, but I don't know how to like describe that. It's like a putrid green.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like we get a little bit of chartreuse in the movie, so it's a feasible color for dragons to be. I feel.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And what would your dragon's power be? Like, you know, there are the ones that like shoot scalding water that melt people, or like their wings can cut trees.
Mine would be able to speak. That's it. Mine would be able to just speak fucking human language. Might be able to be like,
your dragon,
what's up? You know, it would sound like a chain smoker because it has fire breath. So it would be like, how you doing? Jake's dragon.
A stoma.
Yeah, it has a stoma.
I'm Jake's dragon.
Its name is Gertrude. It's Gertie. I'm Gertie. Yeah, that's my dragon.
That's
Gertie the chartreuse dragon.
Matt, what about your dragon?
I think if I was in 8th grade, being the introvert, I'm just like different from other people kind of person, I definitely feel like it would have had to be the dragon would have had to have been black, just like a deep night's black color, midnight black. Super cool looking, simultaneously fearsome but elegant, with like sweet like spines down its back and stuff, and big huge scary wings. And then it would have like the same kind of power as Toothless, where it can shoot like the sonic combustion explosions.
I knew you really fucked with Toothless. I knew you would. Also, you guys couldn't see it, but he literally swooped his hair and started blasting Blink 182. We had to cut that out. But as he was talking, he was like, "Don't waste your time on me.
I'm already." That's pretty cool. What would your dragon's name be?
You can't take Gertie, bitch.
What would 8th grade Matthew have named his dragon?
Oh, I'm very curious.
8th grade, you're what, like 14?
13. She's 13 in this, 13, 14. I had my bar mitzvah in 8th grade, so.
Yeah, well, 13. It was bar mitzvah season. That's how we all remember it. A couple of Jews.
In here.
Probably something like Drakthar. Like, genuinely, that's probably what I would have picked.
I love that we waited. He literally paused, just went, probably some fucking rad like Drakthar.
Yeah.
I like that.
Like while we're sitting in class presenting our dragons or something, I would totally sit there and be like, wow, everyone's going to think I'm so cool when they hear what my dragon is like.
Alex, are you going to, what's yours? You've clearly given it some thought.
My dragon would be purple, and it would have like tiger stripes. Aww. And it would have like a really big like underbite, and then it would have all the powers. So it's super strong and super fast, and it also can do like psychic things. It has telekinesis and can read thoughts, and also it can teleport, and it doesn't have to breathe, so it can go to space.
You literally channeled your 8th grade self so fucking well, I feel like.
Thank you. I would name him Bill. Did you guys have imaginary friends when you were little kids? I did. I don't know if you guys did. Mine was Flameakari, and it was a fire ninja.
That's
and
awesome.
My friends and I would run around in elementary school, and we would jump off of the like PlayStation or the PlayStation.
We would jump off the PlayStation.
We had a PlayStation outside, and we all would jump on it. We would like just like run around doing parkour and be like, "Go Flameakari!" It was pretty fun. It was rad. It was sick as hell.
tell you an embarrassing story about an imaginary friend?
Did your first kiss with an imaginary friend, Jake?
No. No. Anyway.
Wow, way to yes and that.
Yeah, my brother hated me when we were younger, so we tried to get rid of me as much as possible, right? But I really like wanted to hang out with him, and so I remember late at night when I couldn't sleep, I'd like run to his bed. I'd be like, Michael, you give me like story or whatever dumb shit I asked for. But he created this persona where he said the bed was alive. And it was my imaginary friend. So I believed for like a year or two that King Bed was my friend. And anytime I needed to talk, I would just sit down like on the floor and talk to the King Bed and trace the little like stitching and be like, King Bed, tell me a story. And it wouldn't talk to me at all. And I would just trace it for like hours.
I would be more concerned if it actually did talk to you.
Well, I mean, it did sometimes, but that's a story for another time. That's for a spookier bracket.
Ooh. King Bed sounds like a mafia villain. That's like a pretty fun name.
Yeah.
King Bed.
King Bed.
I don't think that's embarrassing. I think that you know.
I talked to a mattress. I talked to you.
When we lived together, I always heard you talking to yourself. Were you talking to your mattress the whole time?
I was talking to King Mattress. Thank you very much.
Oh.
Jesus. Yeah, that was my imaginary friend. But anyways, unless Matthew has an imaginary friend, we should probably continue comparing these movies.
Yeah, nothing. No, I was a writer. So.
Oh yeah, I wrote some angsty shit as well. King Bed was never in any fan fictions, though. I should probably put him in some.
Damn, that's sad. Something else I want to talk about with these movies, because I think it's a central piece of both of these stories, is the idea of seeking acceptance with both internally and externally, and how that relates to kind of making friends, especially as you are a young person, because both of these movies are in some ways kind of centrally about that. You know, both Kayla and Hiccup are sort of socially outcasted by their relative in-groups. And I think that both movies deal with those kind of concepts in different ways, which I think is interesting.
Yeah, actually, I love this comparison because I think the friendship thing and creating spaces, like in How to Train Your Dragon, I think the friendships are so cool, and all the other like characters, you know, because they're good like voice actors, and like, you know, fucking Jonah Hill's in it, who's rad, and you know, they're just talking to Bebop. Yeah, you didn't know Jonah Hill was in it, Matthew?
Holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Yeah, it's a stacked
It's wild.
Cast.
It is crazy how stacked it is.
I think
bracket,
it's so
the
fun.
amount of Jonah Hill and his sister in it, too much.
Yeah.
They got
Crazy.
too many appearances.
Anyway, besides that, the way they handle it and like the social like groups and dynamics and how he feels with, oh God, what's his love interest name? Astrid. She's great. Like it's a great like push and pull. And in 8th grade, though, the scene that stands out to me is the nugget scene. That's like my favorite scene in the whole fucking movie. I love Gabe. Fucking love Gabe. But like, he literally provides space for her to be herself. Literally, like at the end of the table, all the stuff, like opening up things, getting all the sauces, asking questions about, hey, you believe in God? Yep. Okay, cool. Like, not being judged, just being curious, dude. And I love that shit. Like, am I being weird? Am I being quiet? Love that shit.
They're the beautiful scene. Beautiful, wonderful. But because you bring up the do you believe in God, this bracket has 2 movies released by A24 that in their final sorts of scenes have one character asking another, do you believe in God? This and Lady Bird. 8th grade and Lady Bird are the same movie.
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah. This and Hereditary are the same movie where they asked, do you believe in God in the end?
Yeah, honestly. Come on, A24. First Reformed, do you believe in God? It's a fucking good movie.
The Vavitch, do you believe in Anya Taylor-Joy? And the answer is yes.
I do too.
What do you anything else you guys think before?
I'm sorry for derailing that so thoroughly. Yeah, so something I think is interesting in relation to that kind of idea is I don't know how I feel about, I'm inviting you guys to speak more on it, how I feel about Astrid's growth in How to Train Your Dragon, because it doesn't feel earned to me. It's just like over the course of basically a single scene, she goes from has been like bratty, don't like dragons, don't like you, you're fucking dumb, why does everyone respect you now, to like, holy shit, dragons are awesome over the course of like one flight on the back of it.
So I think I agree with you that I think her character development is not the best in this movie. And they fix that in later movies, but I think we're not considering that. What I think, though, that you're kind of discounting is that it's not why is everyone obsessed with you? It's she's jealous that everyone has started to become obsessed with him and wants to know why he suddenly is so good.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess you have to look for that nuance in the way that she is voiced by America Ferrera, like the way that she phrases some of the lines. I've seen this movie a lot, so I noticed a lot of the little details, but like the way that her character slowly turns, I don't know. It's hard to describe, but I feel in my heart of hearts.
I totally know what you mean, though. I think I'm projecting how I feel about her through all three movies, though. Like, I think like that's where, because she does get like more shit to do and better shit to do. And I think when I see the first one, I'm anticipating that, so I'm excited for her. I think what I like most about her is like probably the chemistry between like her and Jay Baruchel. Sorry, he just sounds like Jay. I know hiccup, whatever, but he just fucking sounds like Jay. And it's so funny to me. But yeah, I think their chemistry is good. But I think Matthew has credit where he's saying she just kind of bops around and doesn't get a lot more to do.
Yeah.
What I will say, though, is I think America Ferrera has possibly the best scream of terror that I have ever heard in a movie. And maybe you guys disagree because you've seen a lot of horror movies. Her scream as she's like being pulled up to the tree and like waving around is such a good scream. I don't know if that like moment.
I don't know if you want
you
Matthew and I to open up the can of worms of scream queens, but we totally can.
We shouldn't touch that here, I don't think.
That's on our extra late night podcast.
Tough cut after the Tough Cut Uncut.
Going back to our point about like the comparing like the Gabe and Kayla scene, I think something that I like about How to Train Your Dragon that I think 8th grade doesn't do as much, and 8th grade doesn't do this because it's purposeful. I think How to Train Your Dragon, we get a bigger picture of who those side characters are and who the other teens are. In a sense, like the brother-sister dynamic, the like one nerdy kid, like his whole nerdiness comes in like a clutch moment and in analyzing the big dragon at the end. And like, yeah, they're just kind of stereotypes and like tropes, but I think we get more details about them in How to Train Your Dragon than we do about just like the popular girl in 8th grade or Aiden, who's the teenage boy who likes blowjobs, you know? I think it's purposeful because in 8th grade, you're seeing it from Kayla's perspective and she sees everyone in a very two-dimensional way.
Yeah, I think that part of what's going on also, though, in 8th grade is this may not be intentional. And I don't know if this is a shared experience, but what goes through my head in reflections of those characters is because, in some senses, they're kind of these high level tropes. I think the intimate storytelling, I end up projecting parts of personalities of real people I know that are like those characters onto some of them, which kind of doesn't necessarily deepen them, but sort of recontextualizes them. And that feels like it's supposed to be part of the experience, where How to Train Your Dragons, I think they sort of stay more at that level of, sure, we get some more screen time with them, we get some more characterization, but they stay in that same position as being tropes.
You don't project onto the animated characters. You didn't have a friend who was super into dragon trading cards and was like, this dragon is really strong whenever he saw a dragon, and whenever he saw a different dragon, he was like, this dragon's really fast. You didn't have a friend like that?
I didn't have friends.
Yeah. Well, I pitched the way back, so we'll get to that.
Speaking of, I feel like there's so much more to say, but should we go?
I think I'm ready to vote. These are, fun movies, though. Also, quick shout out, because we didn't shout it out, but Roger Deakins fucking did the cinematography for How to Train Your Dragon. That's rad as hell for an animated movie. Go ahead.
It's kind of fun.
Yeah. It's just a fucking, like, it's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous little movie.
It's really good, guys. All right, I can start. I feel like I'm pretty obvious this time. I am voting for How to Train Your Dragon.
I can go next unless Jake wants to take it. I'm voting for 8th grade.
I will also vote for. Ooh, and I said also, so I had to pick one of them.
There's one vote for each one.
Suspense. I'm voting for 8th grade. As well. Not to discredit, if you haven't seen How to Train Your Dragon, which is ludicrous, I feel like, go fucking watch it. Go watch the whole trilogy, actually, because it genuinely is good.
I need to watch the other two.
Yeah.
They're pretty good. The first one, I think, is the best one. My favorite thing about the sequels is the way that the music carries through. They use the same themes, but slowly change them.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I should have said the scene where you first see Toothless, the score uses bagpipes to depict otherness. So like when you first see Toothless and he's like trying to stab him, there are like really loud blaring bagpipes that are like covering to like in the style of Toothless's theme, and then the bagpipes come back during the like final climactic battle, and then when they're like in the dragon nest. It's so good. It is beautiful music.
I feel like I didn't take away like anything notable on the score, and I need to like rewatch this movie. I mean, score is like out of my depth. I feel like I need to rewatch How to Train Your Dragon, paying attention to audio motifs, because it sounds like there's a lot of really incredible stuff going on.
I will say it's probably because Alex has seen it like fucking a million times, because it definitely isn't something that sticks out to me, but I do know what you're talking about.
I've got fucking goopy goblin brain and don't know how music works.
Shall we get into the second half of this?
Yeah, let's do
it. I'm so relieved now because I have no more films left, so I could just sit back and hang out.
Jake can just hang out, having all of his films.
I pitched one of these movies. I was thinking like, oh, I'm so relieved that I don't have to talk about one of these movies. And I totally forgot that I pitched Lady Bird. So I'll start.
Go for it.
Lady Bird is about, wow, I don't even remember her first name. She calls herself Lady Bird.
Christine,
yes. Christine, Lady Bird. I can't even remember her last name.
McPherson.
Christine Ladybird.
Ladybird.
Christine Ladybird McPherson.
She's an old-timey gangster.
I like that.
A teenage girl who goes to a all-girls Catholic high school, growing up, applying for colleges, has a very strenuous relationship with her mother, meets boys, experiences adolescence.
I remember when I experienced adolescence.
I mean, is there a better way to describe a coming of age movie, though? It is people experiencing adolescence. I don't know.
Skate fast, eat ass.
God, I wish that were my childhood experience. What? I guess I can talk about
why'd you pick this?
Alex gets flustered with these now. I've realized he likes
it's
to go.
It's because I didn't write out my things this time.
He's winging it.
I winged it when I picked these movies too. I saw Lady Bird a couple of years ago, and it was really, really good. And I just remember it standing out as coming of age movie, so I picked it.
Nice. That's fun.
Yeah. Released in Lady Bird was released in 2017. Directorial debut of Greta Gerwig. Greta Gerwig's direction in this movie is so fucking good.
Yeah, phenomenal.
Saoirse Ronan is absolutely incredible.
I want her to marry me.
This movie's cast is just so good.
I have nothing else to add for that part, but I felt like I had to include stuff.
What do you guys think of this movie? I'm sure you probably have closer relationships with it than I do.
I fucking love Lady Bird, dude. Fucking love Greta Gerwig. And her relationship with Saoirse Ronan, who's slowly but surely turning into her muse. Yeah, it's fantastic. It's a fantastic film coming out of nowhere. I love the films that come out of nowhere with coming of age movies. Big fan of those because we all come out of nowhere, and it has a lot of great moments in it. Yeah, I love this movie.
I come into nowhere. I don't know what that sentence means.
Yeah, what was that?
Lady Bird. I hadn't seen this movie before.
Really?
Yeah, maybe surprisingly.
Wow.
It was a really interesting movie. I think it fascinated me in a lot of ways.
Sorry, I thought you were just going to keep it there. I thought
it was a really interesting movie. All right. So the way back. It was a really interesting movie to me. like I enjoyed it through its runtime. And I think the more that I sit with it, the more I can kind of like pull bits and pieces around and be like, huh, like there's, I feel like so much more to dissect here. And I feel like I would have gotten more out of it having watched it twice for the bracket than I would have just once. With that said, I don't know. I feel, I think, strange about it. I don't know. We'll talk more about it, I'm sure. It's just a movie full of like complex, realized characters that have things to like and dislike about them.
Yeah, I feel that. I think because I was so scattered in my description, I'm going to hop in here and keep talking about Lady Bird for a second. I didn't talk very much about Laurie Metcalf as
fantastic
Lady Bird's mother.
Oh boy.
Their relationship is...
We should introduce the way back before we get into this, right?
We'll get into it later.
I think we should, because I want to, because that's fantastic, but like that's more like meat.
We'll get into it.
Yeah. So on the other side of this bracket, my last pitch of this one, we've got The Way, Way Back, released in 2013, directed by Nat Faxon and Jim Rash. Follows Duncan, an introverted and out of sorts teenager who goes on a reluctant summer vacation to a town in the Northeast near Cape Cod, I think, with his mother and her boyfriend, played by Steve Carell, who reveals himself to be a terrific asshole. All the while,
that's a great way to describe him.
Yeah. All the while, Duncan begins to come out of his shell while working at a water park and beginning to befriend its owner and manager, Sam Rockwell.
He's popping up again.
God, Sam Rockwell is so good, guys.
Yeah, so
I love Sam Rockwell.
As for why I picked this one, I recognize it's not a perfect movie by any means, but it's one that I feel very in tune with. There is a lot that I feel close with about my own experience in adolescence reflected in this film. So I felt it would have been a disservice to not include it in the bracket.
Nice. I had actually seen this movie. I thought that I hadn't, but I saw it a long, long time ago. I just like caught it on TV one time. And I didn't really remember very much of it, but I had like definitely seen parts of it. I loved this movie. I thought it was so fun. I thought Sam Rockwell's character was incredible.
So good. Such a great
I loved Maya Rudolph.
Yes.
Like really just great characters, some really good juxtaposition, real fun stuff. This movie is really, really fun, really great. I loved it.
I thought you were just going to keep saying long words. I was totally going to be here for it, Indubitably.
I do film analysis, and sometimes I talk about my dragon imaginary friends.
Yeah, I fucking adore this movie hardcore. This was during I had a period of time where I wanted to watch every single movie of that year. So I went on this site called like Wild About Movies that lists every film that came out by like month of that year. And I still have it as a tab open on my laptop because I don't close tabs. And I go through every time and I don't recognize one. I usually go through and like do whatever poster captures my thing first. So I went into this like completely blind. I was like, this looks fun. Yeah, what's up? Matthew's having a very excited...
Finish your thought, and then I'm going to say something to you, Jake. Finish your thought first. I
love. Yeah, I was so surprised. I knew nothing about it, and like it was one of my favorite films that I randomly ended up watching, and like thought no one else had heard of because no one else talks about it. And then when I found out Matthew loved it, I was like, oh my god, another human being who loves this really specific small movie. Like I love it.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing I want to say to you, Jake,
oh no.
To my understanding, you went through the process of doing that many a year ago of like watching all the movies crazy about, from whatever year.
Yeah.
How many fucking years has that tab been open on your computer? How many laptops have you been through since that tab was first opened? And it's probably only purely being recovered based on like your fucking like Google account data. Are you fucking kidding me, my guy? Like, what is it? Like 8 years or something?
Yeah.
That is...
Yeah,
so mind-blowing.
Wild.
Yep, I'm a little goblin boy who likes his movies. I saw all like the movies in the year. Was it like 2012? I think. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I saw every single 2013. I saw every fucking movie.
That's insane. All right, well, let's hop into comparing these two films, because I think there's a lot to dig into here.
Yeah, man. I want to talk about, like, you know, obviously the relationship with Lady Bird and like the mother, because that's like literally, I think, in our total bracket, one of the best like mother relationships that we see. Like, it's good. It's so
weirdly enough,
so
the other
Mostly
half it was
dads.
single dads. This half it's single moms. Well, not single
She's
moms.
not a single mom.
She's not a single mom. Sorry, this half is mother-son relationships.
Yeah,
that's
very,
more what
very
I
cool.
meant than single moms.
Gotcha. You're just thinking of single moms, huh, Matthew? What's up? Are single hot moms in your area? Are you?
I think so. That's what pornographic websites keep telling me.
You outed yourself very specifically. You could have been like illegal movie websites, but you went straight for the porn.
I feel like that's what everyone ties that thought to.
One of my favorite lines of like a coming of age like thing that I really like felt projected onto me was the whole I wish you liked me and like I love you, but do you like me? And the pause and like all that. Like I was like, oh no, my dad tells me that all the time. Fuck.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
And it's a really like but it's like a really like I think true point where a lot of parents like again they're not like we talked about it before in the first half of the episode like out of their depth, and it's not because like you know they don't think they want children or whatever, but it's like super fucking hard and super like nuanced to raise a fucking human being apparently. And I think that's like an evolution of like giving birth to someone or doing whatever is just like, oh, I can't like you right now. Like I love you. I'll provide for you, but I just can't like I can't fuck with that. And that's wild to me.
This movie, I think, does so much credit to the relationships of parents and children. All of the conversations about the cost of raising a child.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I have never seen another movie go into that dynamic and how that dynamic affects a parent-child relationship the way this movie does. It's just so layered. I still, just thinking about it, always come to new realizations every time.
It's so interesting because I feel like in the way back, it almost villainizes that trope with Steve Carell, like thinking like, oh, you're an ungrateful shit, like whatever, blah, blah, blah. I'm Papa Step Bitch Ass. That's his actual name credited in the film. Papa Step Bitch
Papa
Ass.
Bitch Ass.
Also known as Trent, which carries that same association.
Actually, if you rearrange the letters in Trent, it spells out Papa Bitch Ass.
Yeah. Papa Step Bitch Ass, because he's not full Papa.
Yes. He's a...
Yeah, what were you going to say? What were you going to say?
I was going to go, he's a naughty daddy.
Ooh. He is naughty.
He is a naughty daddy, rating his girlfriend's son a 3 out of 10. Piece of shit.
Actually, I do want to say this was like the start of when Steve Carell started to do serious roles.
Mm-hmm.
He is so good as a dramatic actor.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
He does such a fantastic. So I think this is a compliment to the entire matchup here. The parent characters involved, both Lady Bird's biological parents, then Duncan's mother, Steve Carell's character Trent, and then also Sam Rockwell. I think we get such an ensemble of like really interesting parent characters going on that are all terrifically acted, like complex people for the most part. I mean, Trent is mostly an asshole, but I do think there is some nuance to how that's portrayed.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think surrogate families are super, super important to me in coming of age stuff, just because like, you know, that's very reflective of my experience growing up and trying to find families in different things and places. And like, it's such a genuine moment, a genuine thing for Duncan. That's right. I'm getting all our fucking kids mixed up. I almost like called him Jojo Rabbit. You know, when Duncan like has a surrogate family in a water park, like that's such a specific, like that's something I would romanticize about as a kid, like going to work a summer job and like befriending the people and like being able to have that camaraderie and like and Sam Rockwell and Maya Rudolph like kill the mother father like surrogate dynamic. It's so good. And so Sam Rockwell is so like Sam Rockwell reminds me of what Scarlett Johansson's character was in Jojo Rabbit. with the way how quick they are and how
That's
their
actually
parenting style would
a
be.
really
It's
interesting
phenomenal.
comparison that I hadn't thought about, but like I can totally see it.
Hey, maybe we'll get there, guys.
Maybe we don't know.
They do carry kind of similar jovial attitudes, and that wit is very central to both of their characters.
And I think that's so important.
Well, I think it's the relationship and like their goal in terms of what they're trying to do with the protagonist, because they're trying to get the protagonist to be a kid.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and it's so important for kids, like growing up. Like I think coming of age, like growing up, has to realize that like, shut up, you're a kid. Like, you know what? Like almost coming of age is literally like, be the age you are, be as present as possible. And I think a lot of these movies just deal with like how to be present, which I fucking love. But one thing in Lady Bird, which is so fucking funny, I literally had to stop, be like, please, no. When the very opening where she's like, I just wish I could live through something. And I was like, wrong, Lady Bird, go back. Don't do that. Don't fucking do that, all right?
You don't want to live through anything.
You don't want to do it. Please don't live through a fucking historical event after historical event. Please.
So much history this year.
Jesus
Too
Christ.
much history. I hope Lady Bird's out there in New York living her life as best as possible.
Well, Christine now.
True.
I think that moment is a really interesting evolution of the character, because she spends so much time sort of romanticizing this idea of leaving home, of like becoming an adult, I guess. That like once she finally is in New York, when she's finally away from home, and once she can finally like embrace herself, she still has so many things that sort of ground her in her childhood. I don't know exactly what word I want to use there, but like the going to church in relation to her own relationship with going to a Catholic school, you know, her correspondence with her parents and the earnestness behind that, and like the things she wishes she could have told her mother. And then more than anything, I think the decision to take on her given name rather than her chosen name, I think is really, really powerful, you know, all sort of connecting to she claims to hate Sacramento, but the nun who works at her school so pointedly remarks, like, you write about it with such richness that to anyone else it would come off as you love this place.
The parallel scenes of them driving through Sacramento, and then that contrasted with when Laurie Metcalf drops her off at the airport, I'm like crying thinking about it. It like, oh my God, it's so raw and emotional in such a quiet way.
Yeah.
It's so beautifully done.
One of the highlights I really, really want to point out with Lady Bird is that it's two things, really. Is that one, it succeeds in random bits that are impactful and funny and sad all at once. Like random ones, like the whole them sitting cross-legged like in the Catholic school eating the little wafers talking about masturbation. Hilarious. Or like that random scene where the fucking theater person like fucking breaks down, like who first one to cry. Like,
yeah,
what the fuck? I was like, oh God. Or the cuts, like whenever the movie randomly like goes to other scenes and it's like, oh, a big thing happened. It's normal to not touch a penis. And like the next scene, like that's what it is. It's
the editing, direction, shot composition are all super great in Lady Bird. Yeah.
I think what feels so good about it is it feels so much like the adolescent experience of like everything feels so big and huge and important to a degree that then nothing does. And so these like huge moments then smash cut to something so minor and insignificant, but they're given the exact same amount of weight. It's brilliant. It's so good.
I think the strongest part of this movie is that it's like for almost every argument had in the movie, whether it's between the mom and daughter or like someone else, like almost there's no like, you know, who's the clear whatever. It's not like Lady Bird or Christine is supposed to be like this completely lovable character. She's just like, sure, like she's an argumentative character and like explores the world like that. And I think that's so interesting, especially with Duncan, who just like, I feel like the way back and why I love it so much is that it's a romanticization of the coming of it. Like it's like a very isolated summer experience. And I fucking love that because you're like, yeah, you were there, you did the thing. Who knows if we'll see Sam Rockwell's character again and all that, which is really heartbreaking, but it's beautiful.
But he leaves them with the powerful piece of don't settle, you know, of like rise to it, be present, you know, that ending speech he gives Duncan, I think is really, really
I really
nice.
need you guys to help me decide here because I'm genuinely like fucking
I have
torn.
no idea what I'm going to vote for. We've waxed poetic a lot about Lady Bird. I think one of the best moments for me in the way back was at the end when he runs back into the water park and his family follows him. And when Sam Rockwell is like getting between Duncan and Trent, like it's done so purposefully, but then it's so minor. You know, it like both of these movies do such a good job with minor moments.
Yeah.
That are so purposeful and impactful. Ooh, boy.
It just felt like such an escape. Like I literally like I've cried to both these movies. I've teared up like hardcore.
I'm crying right now thinking about these movies. Like they're just so beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm a little baby.
Something else I want to throw out as just like in the theme of like little moments.
Is that Timothy Chalamet's in Lady Bird? You're right. Correct.
Yeah, and he fucking sucks.
He sucks so much.
But yeah, sorry, go for it.
Something I think so small, but I just shows the depth of impact that Sam Rockwell's character Owen has had on Duncan.
Yeah.
When he's giving her the tour of it and he's reciting the like the zero comedic timing moments of Sam Rockwell's jokes when he gave Duncan the tour, is that like the fact that Duncan like memorized all of those to be like, oh, I like this is a cool thing another person did and I want to be
So
like
endearing.
that person.
So
It's
endearing.
so good.
But then the like authenticity of like, it took me like after he says the joke, he's like, it took me a little bit to get it, but and then it just like keeps going. Like, oh,
It's so good.
it's so good.
I hate this matchup. I hate it.
I know.
I think the thing that's so tough with these movies, like obviously the way back is super important to me, and I'm sure other people out there, but like I know so many people that like Lady Bird is just such like an earth-shatteringly valuable film to them, and I totally understand that emotional resonance because it's a great film that gets at a lot of complicated and difficult stuff about being a person, about growing up, about like your relationship with your parents. Like,
Yeah,
boy,
because I think I'm in the same boat where like I think the way back like is really specific, like to me, like it's really powerful, and it's like again that escapism of coming of age. But Lady Bird is so like also specific in like the talking about like wealth and like religious fucking conundrums, and I don't know, man. I don't know.
I think for me, I'm such a sucker for Sam Rockwell. He's just so funny
He's
and
so
so
fucking
good.
good.
And his character is so well written and so the performance has so much nuance. I love Sam Rockwell.
I think it's crazy that like I've never thought about how many things I like enjoy Sam Rockwell in.
It's a lot.
Till
He's
like
great.
being forced to question it by him popping up twice in this bracket, and I've looked over his filmography and I'm like, oh shit, yeah, he was in all these things and he did do a good job.
Should we? God, I have no idea what I'm going to vote for, but should we vote? I feel like there is no chance that a conversation leads me closer to some sort of consensus. I
Do you
think.
guys think that Timothy Chalamet, like Lucas Hedges, whatever, do you think they're going to play teens forever?
He's got kind of that soft boy aesthetic.
Oh, I do. I have one more important question and conversation that I think we need to get into.
Okay.
Timothy Chalamet in Lady Bird and Sam Rockwell in The Way Back. What would their dragons be? And what would their dragons' powers be? And what would their dragons' names be? The characters in the movies.
Not in 8th grade. They're like grown up selves.
Yeah, what would their dragons be? Sam Rockwell's would be like super chill and cool and like hang out, and it would be a water dragon, and it probably would make tidal waves in the wave pool.
Yeah, it'd be like a chaos little whatever. But yeah.
Yeah. Timothy Chalamet's, I don't really know
Matthew's
much.
playing super coy, but he knows exactly the answer to this question.
It would be a black dragon. It would have spines on its back. It would shoot out like a supersonic blast.
And he'd probably be named like Drakthar or something. I'm that guy. I'm Timothy Chalamet's character.
Oh no.
I don't know, but I think in some way, despite the fact that dragons don't have they don't seem to have like an advanced hierarchical society, his dragon would somehow espouse anarchist beliefs, despite the fact that it was high up within the hierarchy, being fed by the other dragons very frequently.
Matt, just wait until you watch How to Train Your Dragon 2 and 3.
Oh shit! Do they have a
Talking
whole
about
society?
hierarchical dragon
Oh
society.
yeah, I was gonna say
That's so
literally.
funny.
Yeah.
Should we vote?
I
Yeah.
guess this is a tough one.
It's really tough.
This is a great fucking matchup, man.
Does anyone feel like they're leaning one way strongly and can start off our vote?
I can start us off because I can.
Wait, okay. Before you say it, Jake and I have to write something down because the last time we did this and I didn't have something written down, I felt like I was in hell.
Okay.
I have to write something down. Okay. I'm ready.
All right. I can go first. I am voting for the way back.
Okay.
I will go second since Jake wanted to go last. I am voting for Lady Bird.
Maybe I shouldn't have gone last.
Jake, you wrote something down.
What'd you write
didn't
down?
you?
I know I did, but I still feel awful. Yeah, much against my personal, I think I'm going for Lady Bird. Yeah, I know the way back means more to me specifically as like that escapism, like whatever thing, and I really related to it, especially when I was younger when I watched it. But Lady Bird, man, oh man.
I totally get it.
Yeah.
I feel similarly. I loved the way back, but I think for me, in my mind, it came down to I felt like Lady Bird's relationship between mother and daughter was so nuanced and deep.
Mm-hmm.
And the way back has a great relationship. Like it is a very good depiction of a mother-son relationship. I just felt like Lady Bird's was something.
Yeah. If Toni Collette's going to play a mother, well, it's going to be in Hereditary, not this one, you know? That's a coming of age, right? I am your mother. It's a great scene.
Yeah. It's a power. Yeah. One day it'll show up on the show. Jake knows many of my thoughts on Hereditary.
Oh, yeah, I do.
Yeah. So with that, coming at you next episode, we've got Perks of Being a Wallflower versus Jojo Rabbit and
I'm so fucked.
8th Grade versus Lady Bird.
I hate my life.
Super fantastic matchups. This is a stacked bracket and we're not messing around. Man.
Yeah, we just picked good movies, guys.
I'm
Good
honestly
job.
so
Good job,
glad
Lauren.
that I didn't pick the way back because I can't have these many personal favorite movies. I will fucking lose my brain.
Hey,
I'm so excited.
My personal emotional horses are mostly out of this race, so I'm here just as an arbiter of theme now. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast. We really appreciate it.
Follow us on all the socials. Follow us on, Twitter, Instagram, @ToughCutPod, all that good stuff. We love hearing from you too. Like, comment on us, tweet at us. We need more Matthew Twitter stands. We need more people to tell him to do a live reading of the Sonic script.
We're at 2
These
of
are
10.
things we need.
We're at 2 of 10.
2 of 10.
Yeah,
Remember,
you guys
that
got to work
lasts
harder if you want
forever.
that. And maybe I'll buy a Sonic costume for when we read it.
Of the
Guys,
original
my
one,
eyes
right?
just bulged out of my head. Please tweet at Matthew.
The one I sent you guys in our group chat a while back. The fucking horrific looking thing.
Oh,
Maybe I'll
my
buy that.
God.
Maybe we all need Sonic costumes. Jake, do you want to be Tails or Knuckles?
I'm a Tails,
Okay,
right?
I'll be Knuckles. That fits. I think
Oh,
that fits.
Jesus. Yeah. So if you like the show, leave a review, tell your friend, singular.
Hey, tell your mother. Tell
Yeah.
your father. Tell and make it a really awkward and awful conversation if you haven't talked to them in like 5 years or something.
Tell your
Tell them.
parental
And then ask
figure.
them if they like you.
Yeah.
And what would they rate you out of 10? And if it's a
I'm
3,
so afraid.
you have permission from us to beat up your parent.
Unless there's beefy Steve Carell, because he was beefy in that movie.
I don't.
He was a naughty daddy.
He was beefy naughty.
Daddy. Oh shit.
All right. Well,
I don't know.
Oh,
My fucking brain is turning to mush.